All right, Giants Nation. I know some of you guys probably heard about the CBS ranking. The biggest story coming out of it is that Daniel Jones is ranked 32nd, which obviously is wrong in my opinion. Some of y'all probably agree with it because you don't like Daniel Jones. You think Drew Lock should be starting, but I'm gonna explain to you why this list is ass. It's ass, and I guess it's based on how he feels about the quarterbacks because some of these players are a little bit too high or they're just in the wrong position. So Patrick Mahomes is always going to be number zero, number one. He's always going to be the best quarterback. Brock Purdy's ranked number two. I understand why Brock Purdy's ranked number two. He is a good quarterback, but to me, he's a really good game manager. And, you can't just put Brock Purdy on any team and they're just going to be a winning team without them being good outside of the Brock Purdy situation. He's just not that guy. He just happens to be on the right team. I feel like they have the best offense in the league besides Patrick Mahomes being the best offense. I'm not saying that the Chiefs' offense is not stellar, but I feel like the 49ers' offense is really, really good. Josh Allen, number three. I like Josh Allen, so I can agree with that, but I feel like Joe Burrow's ranked a little bit too high. I know he's coming off of an injury season. He's obviously got real weapons in Cincinnati. Like, I saw Giants fans saying, "Oh, we drafted Malik Neighbors, another weapon." What you mean? You had Saquon Barkley was the only weapon in the Daniel Jones era. There ain't no other weapons that were drafted. No other weapons. Galladay was supposed to be a weapon, and he hated the offensive system here. He didn't hate the quarterback. At no point did he say that. He hated the Joe Judge system and the Jason Garrett situation. He didn't like it. Like, he really didn't want to be here. And it wasn't because of Daniel Jones. It was because of the coach. So Giants fans hate to admit that. But yeah, the Giants have been a mess over these last few years. And it's not just Daniel Jones. But Joe Burrow should definitely go lower. I would put Lamar ahead of CJ. I understand the hype with CJ. Obviously, he's got Diggs now, but I'm a big Lamar fan. Lamar's from my area. I always want Lamar to do good. Yeah, I think Lamar should be higher than CJ, so I would move CJ and Lamar up and move Joe down. They can go. He can go ahead of Jalen Hurts and Dak. Jalen Hurts and Dak, in my opinion, they're good quarterbacks, but a lot of Giants fans had this whole conversation of, if Daniel Jones could be better than those two, and it's going to be hard because he has to stay healthy for one. The Giants just aren't as good as the Eagles and the Cowboys. So let's say he did stay healthy. He doesn't have what these two quarterbacks have, which is a good offensive line and great players around him. Now we're starting to get to that point. The defense looks great. We finally got a wide receiver one, but I feel like we're at the end of the whole Daniel Jones saga, right? It feels like he won't be here in 2 seasons, right? If you had to guess, do you think he'll be here in 2025? I say no. So doesn't matter at the end of the day, but yeah, they're good game managers. Brock Purdy is a really good game manager, and these two are good game managers. And you're now seeing a situation where they're talking about the Cowboys moving on from Dak Prescott. So that's not surprising at all because every year they lose, it's like he does something to make them lose. So 7 and 8 is fine for them. Justin Herbert, I don't know how Justin's ranked this high. This was the quarterback I wanted instead of Daniel Jones, but obviously he didn't want to go in that draft because he knew we were ass. I keep telling Giants fans. He probably looked and said, "Oh, so Kyler Murray's going to Arizona. That means I'm going to go to the Giants. Fuck that shit. I'm going right back to school and study and partying with women." I don't know if the women over at Oregon at that college, if they look great, but he went back to school for a reason, and it wasn't because of education. That's the popular excuse. No, he probably ain't want nothing to do with Giants. But I feel like he's ranked a little bit too high. I feel like Jordan Love is ranked a little bit too high. I mean, I'd probably put Tua before those two guys. But this is not too bad. Aaron Rodgers is always respected. He's obviously up there in age and coming off of an injury. Nothing wrong with these rankings so far, except the fact that I probably moved Tua above Justin Herbert and Jordan Love. Funny story with Tua is I live near Miami, and the Miami fans are not sold on Tua because they know that contract is coming up, and you're gonna have to pay Tua a lot of money. So it's like he's a good quarterback, but then they worry about the injury situation too, the concussions, and they just feel like he's not as good as everybody else thinks. But hey, they watch more Tua games than us, as outsiders. And I'm not gonna say every Dolphin fan is against Tua, but they're definitely probably more so than the Daniel Jones for the Giants. You would think that there'd be a lot of fans that hate Daniel Jones, but I think they just are done with trying to force the Giants from moving on from Daniel Jones because they just do what they want to do. They, it's not a situation that people who have common sense really focus on. They just, yeah, common sense, you just let it run its course. Like, he can't be here for 8 years. There's no way. There's no way this guy's gonna be here in 2025. I'm just saying. I don't know how well he'd have to play next season. I just don't see it personally. So yeah, Tua should be higher. I think Jared Goff is perfect where he is. I understand the hype with Kirk Cousins. He was looking good before the injury, and then Trevor is so goddamn overrated, bro. This man is so, like, I get it. He racked them yards up, but I feel like he's so overrated. I watch a couple Jacksonville games, and it's just like some of these throws that he throws are just like, who are you throwing the ball to? Like, where was that going? So I don't know. 15 is fine for Trevor Lawrence, but maybe I would even put Matthew Stafford ahead of him because, it's Matthew Stafford. But this is where the list really gets very, very disgusting. Like, this is pretty shitty. Deshaun Watson has not been good in Cleveland. He has not been good since his Houston days when he was still getting massages. Why is Deshaun Watson still ranked so high? Like, you can pause and read what he's saying, all the fucking bitch ass excuses he's making for Deshaun Watson. If you're saying that the Giants should trade for Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns would probably take Daniel Jones because of his contract and they can at least get out the contract, that tells me a lot about Deshaun Watson. I think he's owed like $230 million, and his contract's fully guaranteed. So as much as y'all scream about the $160 from Daniel Jones, only $81 million of it is fully guaranteed. So shut up. Geno Smith probably should definitely be number 17. I would probably move Deshaun Watson all the way back down behind Derek Carr. So everything else here is fine. I get it. Baker Mayfield's got the two studs he's throwing to, so I can see why. Maybe Kyler Murray should be ahead of Baker Mayfield, in my personal opinion. But Caleb should definitely be ahead of Will Levis. I don't get the hype, Will Levis. Like, what is the hype? You're expecting a major breakout? How? Why? I don't see the hype with Will Levis. I remember they were comparing him to Daniel Jones because he went to Kentucky. I would slide him down. I would slide Anthony Richardson down. I get that Anthony Richardson's supposed to be good, but he did have the shoulder injury last year, so I'd slide him down. I would slide him down, and I'm going to tell you where I'm going to put him in a second. But Caleb goes up. I'm putting Caleb behind Kyler Murray. He hasn't had a snap yet, but he's Caleb Williams, and look at what he has around him. There's no way he can fail. So he goes up. Will Levis down, Anthony Richardson down. This motherfucker is definitely going to go down. J.J. McCarthy right here. I understand that he's got two wide receivers. He's got, obviously, Justin Jefferson, and Addison's a pretty good wide receiver too, but I don't understand the hype with J.J. McCarthy. I want to see it first. Like, I don't even know if this guy's going to play in week 1, so it's a strong chance that Sam Darnold will play. And we'll see how long Sam Darnold plays before they start J.J. McCarthy. But I do feel like J.J. McCarthy is super overrated. I get that he won at the collegiate level, but only 2 quarterbacks have won at the collegiate level and then won a Super Bowl, and they're both named Joe. Figure it out. He's not going to be one of those guys. I'm not saying that he's not going to win a Super Bowl for sure, but I don't get the hype in year 1. Like, I just don't see it. And yeah, this is where Derek Carr's at 26. I would move Deshaun Watson from 17 to behind Derek Carr. So even if you want to say that Derek Carr and Deshaun Watson are better than Daniel Jones, I would slide that group up. So I'm taking Carr over Watson. So you do Carr and then Watson, and I'm going to slide them under Daniel. So Daniel's actually going to go up above Anthony Richardson and JJ McCarthy and Will Levis, and he's going to go behind Caleb Williams. So all these guys, this guy will go down, this guy goes down behind Derek Carr and Deshaun Watson. Now, I put Daniel Jones right behind Deshaun Watson, and that would make this list look a little bit better. I don't see the hype with this guy. They're going to have to prove it. And Derek Carr, we know what Derek Carr is. So, yeah, that's why he's going ahead of Deshaun Watson. And Deshaun Watson goes ahead of Daniel Jones. And then from there, I would, at 32nd, man, I'd have to put Bo Nix at 32nd because I don't think that Bryce is as bad as people think. I just think his situation was bad. I would slide Bryce above Gardner Minshew and Jacoby Brissett. Anybody who's eventually going to get replaced, like this is not somebody who is guaranteed to be a starting quarterback the entire season. I mean, you could technically say Daniel Jones might not be the starting quarterback for the entire season, but he's definitely better than Gardner Minshew and Jacoby Brissett. So he's getting slid right behind Deshaun Watson, who would go behind Derek Carr, and they're going above this guy, and Jacoby Brissett and Gardner Minshew, and Bo Nix would be 32nd, and Bryce. Where would I put Bryce? I think with Bryce, he's definitely. I put him ahead of Bo Nix. I'm gonna put him ahead of Gardner Minshew. Definitely not ahead of Jaden Daniels, because Jaden Daniels is gonna go behind Caleb. I put Bryce above Jacoby Brissett, definitely above JJ McCarthy and Anthony Richardson. And Will Levis, I'm still going to have him second in his draft class. So yeah, I think he's got these two guys wrong. They should not be the second worst quarterbacks out of the 32. That should be Bo Nix. And I understand that Bo Nix is supposed to do well in Denver because of Sean Payton, but you never know. You never know. Their receiver core last time I checked wasn't that great. So that's how you fix this list, because it gets like significantly assy after. Is that even a word? I'm just making up words now, but it gets significantly worse after you pass the number 17 with Deshaun Watson being that high. He should not be that high, but yeah, this list overall, I give it a C. It's not that good. I don't know who Cody is. I don't know if he made a list last year, but don't make one next year, because it's gonna also be ass. Because this list is, it wasn't too bad until we got to number 17, and that's when I was like, oh no,